And all of a sudden listen to it and objectively, because usually you're in a player's mind, but now you can sit back and do your own stuff and go, that's really kind of cool. I like that, but I think I want to do a little more with it. My wife has helped me as well in the producing. She'll suggest different ideas and things like that. I'm the creative guy, but Faith in Me, I originally, let's say, wrote it as an 80s power rock ballad kind of in a band idea. So she goes, why don't you try something different? You've got a new resonator guitar and playing some slide. I wanted to play a blues song, right? So he says, why don't you write it in a blues style? Just change the entire style, rewrite the song.
Go open tuning.
Well, exactly. So I played around with the resonator and I came up with a really good swampy guitar lick for the main thing. And I thought, okay, well, let's just try it and put an entire new melody to the words. So the words stood, but the song's been entirely redone. So that's the magic of music. You can take a good set of lyrics and completely redesign the music. You know what I mean? And it's a completely wide open palette. And it's really interesting when you start getting into music writing. And, if there's a spark of inspiration, you can follow that every time, right? And take it to where it needs to go. That's wonderful.
The thing I always find fascinating with artists like yourself is there's ideas that you have and sometimes shelf, and they could be shelved, and they could be shelved for 10 years. Yep. And then one day you say, all right, you find yourself in a situation where you're taking on a project where, okay, let me take this off the shelf and see what I could do with it. And it's amazing how many great pieces of work come out of those shelved tunes sometimes.
Well, yeah, or like a practice routine sort of starts. Like, that's how the song Elevation started as sort of a, I was just trying to work my fingers in like kind of a banjo roll kind of a thing. I was working on some different Jerry Reed tunes. Jerry Reed's fabulous. Mm-hmm. I've done a couple of Tommy Emmanuel camps when I got interested in finger picking. I met him back in 2012 and saw a show, and he blew my head off. Like such a, it's like I gotta have more of that. So
finger picking is a whole art.
You'll hear a lot of that in there. Like a lot of times, even when I play electric now, I have a thumb pick on because you can really add some interesting texture, some different way of, doing your 6 and, 9 different forms on the guitar, which are more pedal steel like and more, piano kind of chords. So I'm kind of, developing my own thing, but, apart from Elevation, it kind of started as a picking routine, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay, I can feel something happening here. So it's like,
sure,
all of a sudden there's the song, and there's the song, and the melody just travels through it, and it's like it becomes infectious. Same with Seasons. Seasons was kind of the same way. I'd been working on a song and done it many times, like White Summer Black Mountainside by Zeppelin, right? And he does it in the I think it's open. It's like a double drop D or open G, I believe it is.
I think it's open G.
Open G, yeah. So I was playing in that tuning, and it has this real kind of modal sound to it. And I was just moving some different chord shapes around with that, working with the picking pattern, and the song Seasons appeared, right? So that's like when you hear that song, you're gonna go, wow, where did that come from? Well, that was where it started, was in the Zeppelin era, but where that's like an old idea that I had when I first started finger picking that I brought in, I worked an arrangement around with it and finished the idea. So, but it's a really interesting kind of thing. You can really get things moving and paint an interesting moving melody. It's almost like a piano crossing.
Mm-hmm. So is Elevation your first album?
It's the first actual legitimate album. I've done some other stuff on my own. It's more like demos and that, but I've never produced anything or put it. This is the first commercial album I've done.
But John, but it's under John Dorsch albums Elevation. Just so everybody, just so the fans and listeners could go out and buy it. and download it and upload it.
Well, you download it, really, yeah.
Yeah, you can get it on streaming there. I have a whack of CDs here made, but you'd have to contact me through the website. There's contact form there, or email me, and
yeah,
ship one.
We're gonna at the end we'll get all your information so we can relay that so that
everybody
they can, basically start stalking you.
So how has the album been doing for you? Stalking you.
It's been quite a surprise. I felt quite a joy finishing it because it took 2 years. Like, it took me a year to record the whole album.
Wow.
Because you start with 8 songs, and you end up with 15. So some of them are pretty elaborate arrangements. I had hired 2 drummers at different times, you know what I mean, to do that, and they both failed. So at the end of the day, they've got really
failed.
Yeah, they just you hire somebody for $25 an hour to come up with drum patterns, and they just, after 5 months of not doing anything, you have to pull the plug, right? At the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
So I ended up programming those drums using Superior Drummer by Tunes Track, and it took about a month and a half of learning how to operate that, because I do have drums in my background. I played in a drum corps, I did triple drums, I did snare work.
I'm not a drum corps.
Wow.
Oh well, that's some serious drumming.
I could play accordion, and I was good, but when I started playing acoustic guitar, my rhythm was so bad that the guitar player said, we're gonna have to straighten your rhythm up because we can't play together. It's not working. You have to start to feel where the beat of the music. He says, I have a friend, Glenn Schofield. He's a pro drummer, actually, just happened to be in Smith Falls with the Lamplighters drum corps. So he sent me over there, and I met him. And I says, well, let's get you started on some drumming. That'll fix you. In 2 months now, I've got the beat. I know when I'm on beat or off beat. I can hear it all the time. You can push the beat or whatever, but
count it out.
That 2 months of paradiddles and playing and all of that just really straightened it all out. And I recommend that for anybody, because it's not what you play, it's also what you don't play in between the notes and the swinging and swinging notes and moving them, to create the feel, right? So there was that in there too. So I eventually I had basic drum machine tracks on the songs, but I went through and painstakingly put down my own drum parts, using the professional samples that are on there. So what you hear is me actually physically drumming the keyboard. So if you know what I mean.
That's amazing. That's really amazing.
So I had to learn that. So it's it's like everybody likes to talk support, but it's at one point you end up having to rely on yourself to get stuff done for some reason. But pandemic lethargy, everybody, just wants to play in a cover band and, get free beer or whatever they're after. But everybody has a different motivator, right? So
do you go out and play at all?
I still do. I'll be at a wedding tomorrow night. We're playing in a beautiful outdoor, historic barn wedding tomorrow night. There's a group of guys from Brockville, which isn't too far from me, that I play lead guitar, and I sing probably, 8 or 10 of the songs during the night. So I kind of moonlight as a hired guitar player for another band. We're playing mostly covers, but with my original stuff, I play with my wife, and we do an acoustic duet, kind of coffee house style. We're up.
That's super cool.
Yeah, really?
That's super cool. And the cool thing is, you can't fire her.
She can't go sick.
She would serve you papers, but no, that's phenomenal. Especially if your spouse is musically inclined. Mine is ex violin player, can't sing. Wants to get back into violin, won't do it. I don't know, but she knows music, so, but it's cool. So she understands, and she's been around it for so many years, and she gets it. But that's cool that you're able to work with your wife on that level.
She's a great singer. And, I was playing rehearsing with other bands, probably around, well, we worked together for a number of years, but we didn't know each other, romantically sort of thing, until she ended up showing up at some of my live band shows, because she's a music lover, right? So she actually met me, but I'm a retired police officer. She was the dispatcher, and actually was my dispatcher for probably 5-7 years. And then she became the extra duty coordinator, which, if they have a construction or have to shut down a highway, they hire extra officers. So she was hiring me at one point and popped my picture up on her computer, which shows up when she books people. And it goes, oh, I know him. He's that guitar player in the band. So that's how she figured out who I was. Right? So anyway, fast forward. So anyway, we're together, and I'd had the band in the living room practicing, and for whatever reason, I'm working on different vocals and different stuff, and she would sing along in harmony, and it's like we discovered that organically. So when things shut down, we were already kind of singing together, playing our own kind of little cover list at home of fun stuff like Ray LaMontagne or whatever was going on. And, what's that? James, anyway, my memory's gone. Yeah.
James Taylor.
Anyway, so James Taylor. Yeah, that was the name. Yeah. Anything with fingerstyle and singing and harmony or
James Taylor. Amazing.
This stuff. Going to Carolina. But
he's one of those anomalies. Like anytime in any point of his career, you could watch him play anything and just be.
That's true.
Just wow. This guy's on a different planet. Really, just a genius. So, John, are you retired from the force?
I retired in 2021, so it's like the pandemic hit, so I hung in for an extra year on that, just because it was like you don't want to retire in an emergency, right? So that would
right.
So especially if they're going to pay you triple time.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in that, so I put in my time, and I probably mentally should have retired a couple of years earlier than that. I wouldn't recommend going a full 30 years of my job. It's not so up.
It's tough. It's very tough. I have friends that are in it, and I have a good friend of mine that I performed with for years, who was a deputy down here, who was actually part of the motorcycle. He trains the officers on motorcycle riding, but he's been on the force 20 something. He's trying to get to 30, and it's tough.
It's hard.
Hell, it's tough to do 10, let alone 30.
Well, there's been different issues that pop up. It's like you never know. Everybody's strong and built well inside that can take all that, but you can't show up like these serious disasters over and over and over and over again for like 30 years without having to turn it off and deal with stuff later on. Right?
Yeah.
So after a while, you realize it's probably time to throw up the white flag.
It takes a toll
anymore. Yeah. So you for your own health, it's time to kind of stop the shift.
For your own mental health.
That's why that's part of what music was refilling the well.
Yes.
Right? So,
right.
So good. The last few years was really, really bad in enforcement around, I think it was from 2019 on. There was a lot of enforcement officers and, paramedics and, first responders ending their lives because they're just not obviously dealing with life. And, so that's what the song Save Just One More Life was about. Can we just save one more life? And that would maybe, the paramedic or the officer, right? So,
right,
anyway.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, what are you going to be up to next? Are you starting on a new album?
Well, we like to, since retirement, we've been traveling a bit in the winter time. So it's like we decided we wanted to see a bit of the world. I had had 3 kids, so I didn't do a lot of traveling. I went to work and raised a family, and I was an assistant hockey coach for a number of years with 3 kids in minor hockey. Like my daughter plays, my twin boys play. So it was like
great.
It's awesome.
3 kids on the ice at one time. So, but so now I'm kind of free again, and we can do that. So I find travel inspires my music quite a bit. So I'll get a flood of ideas. So I carry a guitar with me. I carry a Zoom recorder and, capture everything I used to miss because, all those great ideas, you go, oh yeah, okay, whatever. But now I don't miss them anymore. You'll forget them.
Right.
So I have,
what do you, John, what are you bringing on the road with you? You bringing a nice Taylor acoustic on the road?
Yeah, let's see some of your guitars there, John.
I see the Paul. I see the telly. What do you do acoustically? You got a Taylor or Martin? Oh, there we go.
This is my Maiden. Yeah, it's a Maiden 808, and you can see it was autographed by Tommy Emmanuel right there. So
wow,
right there.
That's amazing.
So I got him to autograph it a second time on the back of the headstock as well. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, that's his particular model. It's one of my favorite guitars. So this one here is my '89 custom Les Paul, and this is a fabulous guitar. It is heavy as hell on the shoulder, but
did you leave me that your will?
anything is possible. So I'd have a Seymour Duncan in the back of this one here. It sort of adds a little more oomph to it, and but it's not a fuzzy pickup anyways. And then they
have a lot of good bite to them.
This is my Fender custom telly, and this one has the absolutely beautiful, curly maple neck. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
Here. I love the rosewood. This thing makes every sound great. This is one of my main amps over here. So it's like my Marshall JCM 800.
I used the 800s for so many years. Is that a 50 watt or?
That's 100. So
it's 100. Okay.
Yeah, I like the headroom because, like, when you want to get spanky clean or twanky, the telly comes great through it. It does some really, really good sparkly stuff. I have a Gibson what is it? J45. I have a Sunburst J45. It's not in the room right now, but that's my other main great sounding guitar. So those are the four main ones. And I have a Yamaha. It's an FG lower line travel guitar. That's my main one I take when I travel.
So that's the one you back up when you go on the road and
that's right. On. Pretty much how you can pass it to and it'll stay in tune with that one. So
get one of those mono bags. That's what you need.
Exactly. So I have it's like a backpack case for it.
Yes.
But it works
well.
And that guitar's gone all the way into South America, into the Amazon. So, and you know what? It stays in tune. It plays well. And, it doesn't have the depth that some of the other guitars have, but it's very functional. Keeps me playing. I can't live without playing a guitar for very long.
No.
And, yeah. So I trimmed it down. I used to have a whole bunch of guitars, but I found I wasn't playing them. And, they kind of suffer when you don't play them or, the humidity wise. Canada goes up and down in temperature a lot. So
it
gets really difficult.
I do the same thing, John. I get guitars and I just they sit on the wall or I don't play them and I just get rid of them and get something else. Like my wife she got to the point where it's like a box would show up at the door and she's like, oh, it looks like the size of a guitar.
Or it's
where
like,
did this come from? And you're like, I don't know.
No.
Where did that come from?
What I want for my birthday, I saw this really great, and then he shows me the picture,
It's a never-ending thing. You know that, John.
I have another custom amplifier. It's a Trinity 212 combo. It's got tone tubbies in it. It's got it's basically a Dumble Skyliner, but done down into a 24-watt version. So I have that one at rehearsal off Rockville, so I don't ever have to lift stuff. The lifting of heavy amplifier heads and stuff is really not recommended, but you can throw your
totally. Yeah, I was using I had a 5150, the Eddie Van Halen, with the Mesa Boogie. It's 1,000 pounds, and when I was touring and performing, I was going straight through with a Fractal. The Fractal systems, the Fractal AX8. I would travel with that because then you could fly on a plane, put it in your backpack. Wherever you go, you just plug straight in, and it had everything there for you. And then I came back home and had the brilliant idea that I was going to go back to this heavy duty. And after, pulling your back out 9 times just to do one gig, I was like, nah, it's a bad idea. I'm getting too old for this stuff.
I used to have the big 412s and, I need big stuff there for a while when we were doing more touring and stuff. But, it's just like moving that stuff. It's like, you don't really need any of that. It's all for show, right? So,
yep.
with this thing does a fabulous job here. And, with having 2 amplifiers, I just leave one where I'm going and I keep one here where I'm coming back to, so I don't really have to move them anymore. Once
Right.
Perfect.
in a while, and that's pretty good. So, but
So you're going to be traveling. You're going to do some traveling, you and your wife, see the world here and there. And
right.
but are you going to do another album?
Absolutely. I have a ton of stuff. So I wanted the objective was to get this one out here, and I have a whole bunch of songs already dotted out for the next album. I haven't really got into working them or recording them just yet.
Okay.
I have them all recorded in ideas and logged in properly, so I won't forget anything this time, because that's what happens. Right now, it's like all of a sudden you'll be in the middle of something. Oh, there's that idea again. It just popped in my head because something will trigger it, right?
Mhm.
But, we're going to go to the Philippines this year. We're flying into there in November.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to go check out Vietnam and Cambodia, Laos, and touring through there. So
I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, where does a Canadian go on vacation in the winter? I got my answer.
Anywhere where there isn't snow. So it's like
Exactly.
2021, we flew all the way down to Ecuador and checked out the Amazon and the Andes Mountains. It's a fabulous tour there. We were there 3 months, and then we did 3 months in Mexico, and I fell absolutely love it.
Mm.
Yeah, I like Mexico too.
Last winter we did the 9 months. There's so much to see there. The culture and the food and all of that is so
Right.
and I found it really musically inspiring, Mexico, because I imagined, just being like a desert with cactus. Yeah, it's absolutely not. Anyway,
Yeah, really.
nothing like that. So anyway, I guess the spaghetti westerns weren't quite accurate. But,
Not even close.
yeah, so we did that. Now we're going to check out the Philippines, and I like warm places, which are I was kind of thinking of a Jimmy Buffett kind of style vacation this time, but
I know we just lost him. But what hell of a career. But I'm with you on that. I live down in Tampa, Florida. After growing up in the New York City, New Jersey area, I hated the winters. But I do love the warm weather, and that's some great traveling that you've done.
Yeah.
But Mexico is a whole unique place, and I had the fortune of playing in Hermosillo, Mexico, which is in Sonora. And my wife, of course, freaked out because she went online and read the government watch, alarm list or whatever.
Right.
And then you fly there and you realize that's not really what's going on.
I know.
There's American companies all over the place. There's just beautiful families but again, John, the food.
It's like, if you're going to go, it's like
you live in a taqueria the whole time, and then you can't get out of it because that's all you want.
And then there's always the better taco, and then they keep coming.
They just keep coming.
And there's the barbacoa, and then there's you just and then the all the different soups that they make. It's like,
yes.
Oh yeah.
They meet the people, and then they have their own spin on the family meals, and they're absolutely.
Were you able to go to Puerto Vallarta? Did you get there?
We didn't get to Puerto Vallarta. We were south of that. We went to Puerto Escondido and spent quite a bit of time down there. It's like quite a surfing mecca, and I love the open markets, like the
yeah. Puerto Vallarta I found to be very romantic. It's a very, very romantic area. I've been to a lot of places in Mexico. I had a lot of fun, a lot of crazy things, but Puerto Vallarta, just for some reason, was just so relaxing and so romantic.
Just reminds me of the Love Boat. Whenever you say Puerto Vallarta, the Love Boat.
We're not too far. I guess we're Manzanillo-ish from there, and then we ended up. I have friends that retired. 2 different friends actually that retired into Ajijic, Chapala area. So we ended up, meeting people and staying in that area, and then kind of going down through Mexico City, and then it became a Mayan cultural experience.
Yes.
Teotihuacan, the big temple of the sun and moon, and I had no idea all of this stuff was going on there, the culture that was there still. But it's fabulous, you know. It's like there's food everywhere. People are friendly. You know what I mean? You know,
super friendly.
The American dollar goes up really far in Mexico.
Canadian dollar, not so much. So anyway, but it goes farther down there than it does here. So
Yes. lady,
That's where you're going to retire and move to, John.
Well,
hey, it's pretty cheap to live down there.
I do enjoy the break coming down to the U.S. We actually were into the U.S. We went to a wedding in Rhode Island just recently, and that was a fabulous trip too.
Yeah, Rhode Island is pretty.
Very pretty, very pretty. So
Very pretty area. Yes.
Well, the thing about Mexico, that it's kind of like Italy. You know, it's so regional.
Yeah.
Like wherever you go, it's a whole different planet.
Yeah.
You know, whatever region, just like Italy. You go southern Italy, you get this. You go to west, you know, same thing with Mexico. And but I was just blown away by just the people and the food. It was
And the food. Yeah,
just
the
an
food
experience.
is unbelievable.
Like the band was like, should we just pull our money together and invest in a place down here and we just not go back? Or, you know, like we just started thinking all these, open a taqueria, you know, it was just incredible.
well, I thought about not coming back up here because they're you know, like Mexico is pretty free, wide open minded kind of place, right? And Canada was going south under communism there for like in 2020. Like with like perpetual, like we flew out in October and they locked down till the spring. They only opened up before we returned. So it's like, you know, it's like I was already ready to say let's just stay in Mexico. This is a great place, you know.
Yeah.
I love that place here. The food's great, you know. I mean, so it was, you know.
So maybe you'll have a little Mexicana in your music.
I do. Well, on that album, there's a song called "On My Way to Mexico," and
Oh, okay.
so I'm kind of writing about that. At the time, I was thinking, oh, we were traveling to Mexico. My wife had sworn, I'm never going to go to Mexico. They kill 15,000 people every year there. Blah blah blah. It's dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. You know, like I've worked downtown in the streets of Ottawa. It's really dangerous. Okay, and worked in Toronto, like near Toronto, and you know, very dangerous. Like all through my career. You know, I didn't feel that element at all in Mexico, and she now agrees and loves Mexico too. So anyway,
Well, it's like anything else. You know, you have
like,
these preconceived notions, or you
Right.
have this, you know, until you experience it, and then you go, "Whoa, I was way wrong." You know, like
well, yeah, us too. I mean, we went to different places and like, oh, don't go. You'll never return. We had a great time. Had a great time. Everywhere we went, we had a great time. Met a lot of great people. Had a lot of fun. Met a lot of different Europeans and whatnot there, and just had a lot of fun. We've always
But
had
the lockdown, John, was crazy, though. I do agree, especially Canada. I mean, we were touring at that time, and obviously, COVID shut us down from touring because no shows.
Yeah.
But once it opened up, we were the first to hit the road, and we scored some of our best gigs. We got an arena gig up in Wisconsin. You know, it all started to open up, but we were supposed to go to Manitoba, and they wouldn't let us in, even with the shots.
they were just really, you know, it was like this. It was like 1984 here. Honest to God, I read the book. I never thought I'd see it for myself. So it was like, you know, when we left here, I said, I'm not coming back, right? So unless something big changes, but so it seems like the world is spinning the other direction. But they're going the wrong way here for a long time, you know. So they had the biggest protest on the planet here, you know, and that started to turn things around. But that wasn't without a lot of problems here. So
Sure.
Do
It was a big eye opener.
Do your children live in Canada?
Yeah, they do. My one son's in Toronto. My boys are both 29 and my daughter's 30. So she lives in Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all doing pretty well, which is really good. So
Good.
I did my job as a.
You did a good job there, Daddy.
Hey, listen, John, if worse comes to worse, you got a gun,
Yeah.
you know. If you gotta threaten them, or you just sing really poorly for them and just give them a big headache.
Yeah, they don't like to say the G word up here in Canada, but I've got no problem with hunters and have never had any issue with any people. The hunters and people that are actual responsible firearms people. The only ones are the irresponsible bad guys that are really wrecking it.
Yeah.
And, politicians love to use that as an excuse to take everything away from everybody.
Yeah. Pretty much. You've nailed it on the head across the board.
We're not quitting hunting up here anytime soon.
I doubt it. And not down here either.
There's two things that are never going to stop in Canada. One is hunting, two is hockey.
Yes.
And they both start with an H. And that's it. It's not going to stop. But that's, honestly, you nailed it on the head, John. It really is. But your musical journey has been just phenomenal. Your career has been phenomenal. I mean, first and foremost, to spend your career as a law enforcement, that in and of itself is a whole different planet.
It is.
That you got to wrap your head around and life around and everything else. And then to combine that.
And then, but his music saved his soul. Like in American Pie.
I think you're probably right there. I found music very inspirational because there were some pretty dark times that, you go through a divorce there many years ago. That was a pretty dark time. I found music was the one sort of constant in my life that always seemed to kind of, it's like your man's best friend, your dog. You can come home, it doesn't matter what kind of a day, he'll show up and lick your face every day. But, music kind of is that way too. It may not be as inspired, but, the melody will always transcend and, inspire you.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Whenever I'm down, whenever something, bad has happened or even good, whatever, music for me has always been a very important part of my life. Very, very important part of my life.
Music's like time travel in a way. Because it's like, as soon as you hear a song that made an imprint on you or an impression on you, you're instantly revisiting that feeling. It takes you back, right?
Yes, well, I mean,
I'll always remember.
I was part of that whole movement. I was a love child. I was, I didn't smoke. No, I lie. I smoked pot once, and Santa Claus danced on my head, and it was the worst feeling in the world. And it was God saying, "You're never going to do this again, girl." So I never got in. I was a deadhead without the drugs. I mean, like Janis Joplin was my idol. But music to me was always my thing. It was always my thing. It always brought me out of everything and always made me happy. It still does. I could ride for hours in my car with my music blasting and just having a great time for myself.
One of my biggies, John, growing up was Elton John, and I'm sure you loved him as well. And I could listen to specific Elton John songs to this day and know exactly where I was when I heard that song.
Absolutely.
For the first time.
Yeah.
And it could be something as stupid as I was being dropped off at football practice when I was 7. You're like, it really goes back that far.
It's like even Elton John and Kiki D, you know what I mean? Like they just boom, okay, back in high school dance, right? Rocket Man's, what a fabulous tune. So it's like, I love playing that tune. Like I do a fingerstyle kind of version. Jason Mraz popped one up there. So I kind of worked up his kind of style. I can't sing like Elton, but I can play the tune. But
who can?
There's crazy glasses. You buy some crazy glasses.
Yeah, that's all you need is the glasses.
That's all you need.
Pretty much.
I love the, John, for all the musicians out there that are listening, when you dive into, we've had a lot of musicians on the show.
Yes.
But when you dive into finger picking, musicians don't realize what an art form that really is. Even aside from slide guitar. Slide guitar is like its own art form. Finger picking, whether it be on acoustic or a banjo or whatever, is another art form. And it really is. And I've noticed, and I've taken notice recently of some guitarists that are in the rock genre, even hard rock genre, that are out there without a pick now. And you see them playing more with their thumb and twanging and using legato, to do what they need to do. But folks really don't realize or appreciate the skill set and the amount of work and practice it takes to actually successfully finger pick. Bluegrass style, country style, it's a serious art form.
It's definitely, it's sort of taking like piano ideas and imposing them on a guitar, and the guitar is really like a collapsed piano neck with that, it's like you take sections of it, you repeat them over and over. So it allows you to do multiple different voicings and fingerings and inversions. So like a number of years ago, probably when not all that long ago, maybe about 8 years, I started to want to, rather than just playing by ear, which I tend to rely on, even though I know music, the guitar I learned primarily by ear. So like that's what I draw on. So if theory works with that, it sort of helps. I always use the theory to help me along with that. But I've been, kind of working with, triads and different things. And, there's, like take John Mayer, for example.
Oh, he's awesome.
I'd say, in my head, my style kind of, there's a thing about John Mayer that I kind of feel I'm kind of in that same realm, but where I'm going to. I'm not in his realm, but it's like I sort of hear my music in that kind of a genre.
It's kind of the same flavor.
Right.
Yeah. Using your thumb to create a different and things like that. Like the song on my album, Nothing to Lose. I would say it sounds John Mayer influenced, but it's not something he did or anything like that. So, but I think there's a bit of him in there. So I'm kind of developing my own thing using different rhythm, but he does a lot of that kind of muting and thumb picking at the same time. Really, it's very Hendrixy. It's like a hybrid of all.
Yes.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck never used a pick.
He put baby powder on his hands all the time and comes up with these wonderful textures. I saw him, it would be in 2018. He's passed away now, but I saw him in Toronto and fabulous. What a great show. He's such an interesting guy.
Yeah. I mean, to say the least, but when you watch him play and the simplicity, well, I can't say simplicity. It's just, they make it look easy.
Yeah.
Like, I say simplicity, but it's really not simple. It's deep. It's deep. And it's very, he puts a lot of thought behind what he does.
Right.
He just makes it look easy.
He appears to be able to play what he feels he wants to play. Like, he doesn't seem like he's following a script. Like, he just kind of plays whatever. I always wanted to get to that point of mastery where I could just play what I'm hearing, but you know what I mean? That's like a kind of an end game pursuit. So I think we're getting closer to that by, knowing the fretboard, and fingerstyle certainly helped that. It kind of gives you a more rounder look at the way chords change across the neck. Like, my music isn't blues oriented, so you can't ignore the chord changes a lot of times in my music. So I have to play through them. So that's kind of forced me to understand the chord I'm playing over. You want to keep that in mind. And so that way you craft a great melody over top of the chord, right? So, but in that way, that's kind of where I'm at now, trying to pull a great melody out of my own head.
The never-ending battle.
Well, John, tell all of our listeners where they can find you.
Okay. Well, I'm on streaming under my own name, John Dorsch. So it'd be Apple Music, Deezer, there's the other platform, and Spotify. The album's doing very well. So it's like I checked yesterday. I guess the song "Faith in Me" has about 50,000, 55,000 plays so far.
Nice.
Great.
Nice. And you get like what? 0.00008 cents a play?
It might be about $200 for coming out.
You get a royalty check for like $1.90.
But hey, back in the day, if you sold 50,000, copies of your single in Canada, that would be a gold record in Canada.
No,
but anyway,
So,
You'd be opening for Rush.
are you on Facebook, Instagram?
I'm on Facebook as well. It's under John Dorsch Music. So
Okay.
just my name, John Dorsch Music. And I also have a YouTube channel as well. It's John Dorsch Music on YouTube as well. So
Great.
you'll find all my videos on there. My wife helps me curate the videos and things like that. This is a really do it at home project. So she's my number one, assistant, producer, photographer. We do all our
Director.
Is that her behind you whipping you right now? Is that what's going on here?
No, she's in the house. She knows I'm doing it. So she's been making a surprise in the oven. I'm not sure what it is. So I'm gonna be.
Well, it's a surprise.
That
That's what
sounds
a
good.
surprise is. You're not supposed to know.
Hey, John, let me ask you this, because being a Canadian and me being a lover of rock and roll, are you a big fan of the band Triumph?
Triumph was one of the live shows I saw first. I love Rick Emmett. You know what I mean? And when I was going to high school, I heard Triumph and came to our high school. So I always remember
Your high school?
Yeah, they played. They used to show up there and blow everybody's hearing out because there was such a crazy band, right? So, but they had the album Rock and Roll Machine, and they opened up for forgetting now who the band was. They opened up for. They were in Ottawa. No, actually, they were headlining in Ottawa. It was like in probably 1979 or something like that. So they were playing on the grounds, and they did Rock and Roll Machine. And Rick Emmett's such a fabulous musician. I met him twice actually. What a gentleman! But he was running around the football field, did one whole lap playing the solo in Rock and Roll Machine. You know what I mean? Wireless. That was before anybody had a wireless. He would totally. And then I saw them again do Allied Forces. What a hard rock album that was. That whole album, you got to put it on and listen to the whole album. It's like an experience.
It is really a whole album thing, and I seen them back in the day in New Jersey.
Yeah,
they had, check this out, they had Yngwie Malmsteen as their opening act. They were the headliner.
Wow.
And this was when Yngwie Malmsteen had Joe Lynn Turner singing for him.
Oh, yes. That's right.
So they put out that album, and it was just a completely phenomenal album. Yeah, and then Triumph came, and Yngwie came out, tore it up. I mean, I was in awe. And then Triumph came out, and I was like, you have to be shitting me. They were unbelievable.
And the vocal power, like his vocal power is like unmatched. Like, he can play an acoustic and sing like that.
And he's got the higher range. They had the harmonies. I mean, and they're, again, a three-piece.
Oh, yeah.
Like Rush, Canada comes out with three pieces that just own the world.
No safety net there. So it's like no safety net at all.
Well, John, we could probably talk to you. I mean, my son could probably talk to you for another hour. We can. So I'm very excited that you accepted the invitation. It's been wonderful to have you on the show. And as you're again, this is Funny Minds. I'm your host, Lynn B. My son is my co-host, Edward, and we've been with John Dorsch, who has put out an album that Elevation that sounds like it's going to be really exciting for him to go through all of this and watch how it progresses. And I have to listen to some of these songs now. And I'll be looking for you in the future.
Yeah, but John, you got to watch out because she's a groupie. Warn your wife now. She's a total groupie.
No, I'm not. But
I have proof.
I'd like to thank everybody for watching the show. And if you go on funnyminds.com, we have a silly store with crazy things. But most importantly of all, there's 2 organizations that are very dear to us, and that is Women's Breast Cancer and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So there's an area on the website that has a big purple heart, and if you press that and you care to, you can donate to those organizations. And John, again, thank you so much. It's been very interesting. I know my son has been very excited talking to you. And maybe in a couple of months, maybe, or 6 months, we'll get back to you again and see what you're doing. And because I'm just amazed that, you know,
John,
even though he's my son, we listen
and you
to
and
the
I
same
will bust
music.
out the acoustics and do we'll do More Than Words from Extreme or something, and just blow people away.
My wife and I hacked through that one a little while back. I don't think we ever put it out or anything like that, but we played around with it. So it's like, but a great song.
Great harmonies.
It reminded me of Queen when I saw them live in Toronto. They were like a Queen show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I saw Queen. They were absolutely with Freddie, and unbelievable. But again, I say to my fans, I love you. I hope you love the show. I hope you love this episode. And be happy, be healthy, be wise, be
Find Mr. John Dorsch and listen to his music.
Listen to John's music, smile, and don't forget to laugh. Because laughter is the best medicine. Again, John, I thank you. And have fun in the Philippines. Enjoy your vacation. And I'm going to check back with you in about 6 months. And maybe we'll come on again and we'll see what's going on with you, okay?
We'll have to catch up then for sure. So, but thank you very much for having me on. I very much appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, John. Pleasure.
Yes, John.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You were really
You and your family be safe and be well.
a great guest. Thank you. Bye.